Today I'm going to start with our next chapter, continuity and differentiability. First we will define continuity, then we will define differentiability, and we will see what is the relation between continuity and differentiability. So today I'm going to take up continuity of a function. What is the meaning of continuous? Continuous means that something is without any gap or break. When there are no gaps and no breaks, we say that it is continuous. So in a similar way, a function is said to be continuous if it is without any gap or break. Now the question is, how to judge that there are no gaps in the function? Let's see. Suppose we have a function y equal to sin x. In class 11th, you learnt how to draw the graph of this function, and it was something like this. Here also, right? Now if I ask you, can you draw this graph in a single stroke without lifting your pen from the paper? Can you draw? Yes, we can draw. So that means there are no gaps or break in the graph. So we say that sine function is a continuous function. Similarly, the modulus function y equals to absolute value of x. If you are able to recall, the graph of this function was something like this. Now, can you draw this graph in a single stroke without lifting your pen from the paper? Yes, we can draw. So that means there are no gaps or break in the function. So, modulus function is also an example of continuous function. Let's see another example. If I ask you to draw this graph in a single stroke without lifting your pen from the paper, can you draw? No, we cannot draw. I can draw this portion in a single stroke, but if I have to draw this, then definitely I will have to lift my pen from the paper. So I cannot draw this graph in a single stroke without lifting my pen from the paper, because there are gaps in the graph. So this function is not a continuous function. And if you are able to recall, can you identify the function? Yes, it is the graph of the greatest integer function, ladder-shaped graph. So as there are gaps in the graph, so this function is not continuous function. So a function is continuous when it is without gap or without break. If we are able to draw its graph in a single stroke without lifting our pen from the paper, then we say that function is continuous. But every time it is not convenient, to plot the graph and see whether the function is continuous or not. So we need a mathematical definition that when a function is said to be continuous. So let's define the continuity of a function at a point. Let fx be a real function and a be a point in the domain of f. Then f is said to be continuous at x equal to a if limit fx as x approaches a is equal to fa, that is value of the function at the point a. If this holds, then we say that function is continuous at the point a. Now look here. Here I have mentioned that a be a point in the domain of f. When we say that a is a point in the domain of f, that means fa should be defined. Because if a is not in the domain of the function, that means function is not defined at the point a, then function cannot be continuous at that point. Because suppose this is the function and this is the point a. If the function is not defined at the point a, that means you will get a hole here. When you get a hole, that means there will be a gap and you will not be able to draw the graph of the function without lifting your pen from the paper. Because when you will reach at the point a, value of the function is not defined at a, so definitely at this point you will have to lift the pen. So function will not be continuous at the point a. So when we talk of continuity at a point, then that point should be in the domain of the function. That means value of the function should be defined at that point. So function is continuous at the point a if limiting value is equal to the actual value of the function at that point. Now in class 11th, we learned that this limit will exist if left hand limit is equal to right hand limit and the common value will be equal to the limit of fx as x approaches a. So we can say that a function is continuous at x equal to a if left hand limit at x equal to a is equal to the right hand limit at x equal to a, and this should be equal to fa, the value of the function at the point a. These two, when equal, will give you the limit of the function, and their common value will be equal to the limit fx as x tends to a. So when this limiting value is equal to fa, then function is said to be continuous. So a function is said to be continuous at the point a if left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to fa. Let's take a question. Check the continuity of the function at x equal to 0, where fx is equal to minus 3x over absolute value of x if x is less than 0, and fx is equal to 3 if x is greater than or equal to 0. Yes, we know that a function is continuous at x equal to a if left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to fa. Now here we have to check the continuity at x equal to 0. So role of A is being played by 0. So first we will compute left-hand limit at x equal to 0. Left-hand limit is denoted by limit fx as x tends to 0 minus. Left-hand limit means that you are approaching 0 from the left-hand side. That means you are at a value smaller than 0. So if this is your x, then it will be smaller than 0, that is 0 minus h, something less than 0. So here we will put x is equal to 0 minus h. So as x approaches 0, h will tend to 0. So we will get limit h tends to 0, and this is f 0 minus h. Now we have to see, we have to follow which definition. Now look here, when x is less than 0, f will follow this definition, and if x is greater than equal to 0, then fx is equal to 3. Now here, role of x is being played by 0 minus h, and definitely 0 minus h is something less than 0. That means x is less than 0, so we will follow this definition. So I'll get minus 3, and role of x is given to 0 minus h. So wherever there is x, replace it with 0 minus h. So I'll get limit h tends to 0 minus 3 0 minus h over absolute value of 0 minus h, and this is equals to limit h tends to 0 minus 3 into minus h, and this is absolute value of minus h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0, it's 3h over h. Now it is 0 by 0 form, so first we cancel out the common factor. So this is limit h tends to 0, 3. So it is equal to 3. So left-hand limit is equal to 3. Now let us compute the right-hand limit at x equal to 0. It is denoted by limit fx as x tends to 0 plus. This is 0. In right-hand limit, we approach this from the right-hand side. So if this is your x, that means you are at a number greater than 0. So it will be 0 plus something. So here we put x equals to 0 plus h. So limit f 0 plus h as h tends to 0. Now here role of x is being played by 0 plus h, and definitely 0 plus h is greater than 0. So from here, when x is greater than or equal to 0, fx is equal to 3. So here we will get limit h tends to 0, 3, and it is equal to 3. Also f0, when x is equal to 0, value of the function is 3. So f0 is 3. So left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to f0. All are equal to 3. So we say that fx is continuous at x is equal to 0. Let's take another question. Check the continuity of the function fx at x equal to 2, where fx is equal to 3x plus 5 if x is greater than equal to 2, and fx is equal to x square if x is strictly less than 2. First we will compute the left-hand limit at x equal to 2. Left-hand limit is denoted by limit fx as x tends to 2 minus. That means we are approaching 2 from the left-hand side. That means if this is x, then we are at a smaller value than 2. So that is 2 minus h. So here we will put x is equal to 2 minus h. Now as x approaches 2, then h will tend to 0. So we will get limit if 2 minus h, role of x is being given to 2 minus h and h is tending to 0. Now look here. Now we have to see which definition of fx will work here. Now role of x is being played by 2 minus h, and definitely 2 minus h is less than 2. So according to the definition of function, when input x is less than 2, fx is equal to x square. So we will apply this. So limit h tends to 0, if x is equal to x square and role of x is being played by 2 minus h. So in this definition, wherever there is x, we will replace it with 2 minus h. So I'll get 2 minus h whole squared. Its limit h tends to 0, open the square, it's 4 plus h square minus 4h. Now we apply the limit. So left hand limit is equal to 4. Now we will compute right hand limit at x equal to 2. Right hand limit is denoted by limit fx as x tends to 2 plus. That means we approach 2 through the values greater than 2. So if this is x, then x is greater than 2. So we take x is equal to 2 plus h. Now as x approaches 2, so h will tend to 0. So we will get limit f 2 plus h, role of x is given to 2 plus h and h is tending to 0. Now definitely 2 plus h is greater than 2. So whenever input x is greater than or equal to 2, fx is equal to 3x plus 5. So we will use this definition. So I'll get limit 3, replace x with 2 plus h plus 5 and h is tending to 0. On simplification, I'll get 6 plus 3h plus 5 and limit h is tending to 0. On applying the limit, we will get 11. So right hand limit is 11, left hand limit was 4. So as left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit, therefore f is not continuous at x equal to 2. Find the value of k if f is continuous at x equal to pi by 2, where fx is equal to k cos x whole divided by pi minus 2x if x is not equal to pi by 2, and fx is equal to 3 if x is equal to pi by 2. Yes, we know that for a function to be continuous, LHL should be equal to RHL should be equal to f pi by 2. So first we will compute left hand limit at pi by 2. So limit fx as x approaches pi by 2 minus. We are approaching pi by 2 from left side. So that is x is approaching pi by 2 through the values less than pi by 2. So we will put x is equal to pi by 2 minus h. Now as x tends to pi by 2, then h will tend to 0. So I'll get limit f pi by 2 minus h and h is tending to 0. Now pi by 2 minus h is less than pi by 2. So definitely pi by 2 minus h is not equal to pi by 2. So whenever input is not equal to pi by 2, fx is equal to this. So here we will be using this definition. So I'll get limit k cos x, replace x with pi by 2 minus h divided by pi minus 2 again replace x with pi by 2 minus h. So I'll get limit k, yes, cos pi by 2 minus theta is equal to sine theta, and role of theta is being played by h. So I'll get sine h, and here on simplification it is pi minus pi plus 2h. This will get cancelled out. I'll get limit k sine h over 2h, and h is tending to 0. Yes, in class 11th, what is the value you learnt? This limit. Limit sine x over x as x tends to 0. This limit is 1. So, limit h tends to 0, sine h by h is 1. So, I'll get left hand limit as k by 2. Now, we will compute the right hand limit. Limit fx as x tends to pi by 2 plus. That means we approach pi by 2 through values greater than pi by 2. So, here we put x is equal to pi by 2 plus h, because x is greater than pi by 2. Now, as x tends to pi by 2, then h will tend to 0. So, I'll get limit f pi by 2 plus h. Role of x is given to pi by 2 plus h, and h is tending to 0. Now, again pi by 2 plus h is greater than pi by 2. So, it is not equal to pi by 2. So, whenever input is not equal to pi by 2, we use fx equal to this. So, limit k cos x, replace x with pi by 2 plus h upon pi minus 2x, and again replace x with pi by 2 plus h. And yes, cos pi by 2 plus theta is equal to minus sine theta. So, here I'll get minus sine h, and in the denominator I'll get minus 2h. This will get cancelled out, and again the value of this limit will be 1. So, I'll be getting k by 2, and f pi by 2 is equal to 3. So, for a function to be continuous, left hand limit is equal to right hand limit is equal to f pi by 2. Left hand limit k by 2, right hand limit k by 2, and f pi by 2 is 3. So, k by 2 is equal to 3, and this will imply k is equal to 6. So, for k equal to 6, this function fx will be continuous at pi by